Hello and welcome to the Pickup NBA podcast. This is your host, Cathryn Naiker. Thanks so much for tuning in to this week's episode. Joining me today, you know him, you love him, and you can subscribe to his Raptors in 7 Substack.
That's accurate.
It is accurate. A Substack. Give it up for Vivek Jacob.
Woo!
One day we'll.
Thanks so much for having me, Cathryn.
Thank you. It's good to have you back for this season. Always happy to see you. Before we get started, though, with NBA and then Raptors stuff, how's the cricket life going?
The cricket life is good.
You're immersed in the world of cricket now.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, tell us about it.
So it is currently the off season for Team Canada. So they played a series back in September, which was super exciting for me because I got to do my first bit of live commentary. And
that's awesome.
So that was super cool. And here's a Raptors connection. I got to do commentary with Matt Bonner.
Whoa! For cricket?
Yeah, for cricket.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's kind of getting into the cricket space, and we actually, well, not we, my bosses thought it would be a cool idea to have someone who kind of knows a little bit about the sport. So he's actually familiar with cricket a little bit, but he's also learning. And so there is like a huge Canadian audience that is trying to learn. And so, so we just kind of had him on the air, and he was just asking whatever questions he had. And we were just kind of explaining the game to him as we're watching the game.
Really low stakes environment, I guess.
Yes.
But probably other people watching have similar questions. But then the people who are experts are like, can we get this white guy off the air already? What do you know why, like how he got into cricket?
Yes. So if I'm not mistaken, don't quote me on this. I believe his wife's dad used to play at like Toronto Cricket Club, like Toronto Skating and Cricket Club.
Oh, yeah.
And so occasionally he would go watch a game.
You know, that means he's like rich, right? The cricket club. So I have a story about the cricket club, actually, not because I'm rich. So I was a script coordinator, which is essentially like a writer's room assistant for the last season of the Mr. D show. And Jerry D had our writer's room at the cricket club. So he like rented out like a boardroom. And like one of them was so nice. It was like, wow, they clearly have like weddings here. And then the other one was just like a windowless room. And I remember the walls being like a slight pink hue. Like anyway, but he would have like coffee and stuff there for us every day. And he paid for all of that, which was really nice. But I found out he had it at the cricket club because A, he has a membership there, and B, he lives like 2 minutes away. So he would just come in and out of the writer's room like as he felt like it. Like he wasn't there with us all the time at all.
Yeah.
And then he'd come in and then we'd have to like present what we had. But he bought us lunch there a couple times. And there's like, it's not just cricket. It's like there's curling there. There's like ice, like figure skaters, like these 8-year-old like figure skaters, like future Olympians there and stuff like that. And it's like, it's a very, nice, in my world, a very posh place. And I had to take the subway to like Wilson Station, which I don't live anywhere near, and then a bus. So it was quite the commute for me. But
damn,
I know, I'm like busing it to the cricket club.
That's a cool story, though.
Thank you. People get some insights on Jerry D, but it was like it was nice that he got that space for us. It was just an inconvenient location for me personally, but I have no leverage as essentially a writer's assistant. But anyway, basketball, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
Right, let's get into basketball. I feel like the biggest story in the NBA this week, I mean, we talked about the Joel Embiid stuff last week. So to me, the other, the other big story this week was Klay Thompson's return to Golden State. It was pretty epic, I have to say. They did a good job. I think if this were the Raptors, I'm sorry, but the Raptors are just better at this. I don't know if we're just like extra sentimental or something, but like Kawhi's return with like the lights on the court and things like that. Like, I don't know. We're creative. And, I don't take our game ops slash broadcast team for granted, because whenever I watch a game from a different broadcast that's like not the American national one, I'm always like, who are these people? You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So anyway, we do a good job, but they, Golden State, considering nobody is better than the Raptors, also did a really good job with the Captain Klay hats
Hmm.
and the video tribute right off the top. I thought it was smart for them to get that out of the way, that they didn't try to do it somewhere like mid game. And I thought it was a really nice salute.
It was. I love the hats. I would like to get one.
I
I'm a
know.
big Klay Thompson fan. So, um, and I think the thing that made the game so special was just seeing how high the emotions ran, right? Like
For the whole
when
game.
yeah, like when Clay hit those 2 threes in the second quarter, like he was pumped like he was in a playoff game. Like I don't think I
Yeah.
had seen him like that, since maybe when the Warriors won the title
Hmm.
last, and he had a few great games there, or maybe even like, you think back to when he had that big game against OKC, where they came back from 3-1 down, like the emotions were
Yeah.
high. And then you look at
Hmm.
Steph at the end, the way he
Oh,
closed it out and his reaction, like, that was playoff emotion.
yeah, it
Um,
was.
and so I was happy that, Clay hit 6 threes and had a good game. Obviously Luca is Luca, but I was
Hmm.
hoping there was some way Clay could take the last shot there to tie.
Yeah, yeah.
That would have been awesome. But yeah, that game was amazing. I feel like all in all, obviously the injuries have sucked, but
Hmm.
there's been some really, really fun games to start the regular season.
Yeah, I agree. And I like that the players have kind of bought into this NBA Cup thing, and we'll get into that in a bit. But like I think too, like the way Steph yelled into that camera. I mean, people were comparing his shot to like the Olympics, but like he was definitely more emotional about this. And I think to some degree, maybe he'll never admit it, he really took this whole Klay Thompson thing personally, because he was so jacked up after he made that shot that even in the timeout, like he couldn't sit still. And we've seen him sit still after big shots. He couldn't even contain himself. That's how excited he was. And also too, like, they're all like, we're brothers, this, that, and the other. But this has a real breakup vibe to it. Don't you think? Like this whole situation has always had this real breakup vibe to it. And I think like, Clay probably left on good terms with some and then not with a few others. And also last year, he just really wasn't himself. Like I think it was very obvious that he needed to go. But now the Warriors are like thriving without him, and like that's gotta hurt to some degree. And he even said in the post game press conference that it hurts to be on the other side of one of these Steph Curry flurries, as he referred to it. And yeah, it's just weird. I mean, we're going to see these two face off another 3 times this season. Um, I don't know if it'll have the same energy in Dallas. I don't think it will, but yeah, just really, I feel like this story isn't over yet in a weird way.
Yeah. And, the crazy part is this game wasn't even like at Oracle where they built so many of those
Mm,
memories, right? Like obviously
hmm.
there's the attachment of just seeing each other, but I think, if they were still playing at Oracle, I think that might have added even more. Um, I think you're right. Obviously, there are some hurt feelings, but I do feel that's more between the front office and him.
Yeah.
And I think on some level, uh, that was maybe Steph's way of sending a message to the front office saying, "Hey, like I'm still that guy, and I am still very much of the belief that I'm capable of leading a team to a championship. And so,
Mhm.
you know, if moving on from Klay was some way of you signaling that, oh, maybe we don't think we can get to that level anymore, I promise you're wrong. So maybe get me another piece, you know?
Yeah, and, it seems like Buddy Hield has really fit in, like, he looks really good on this team to the point where, like, I don't even understand why he was getting, like, buried on Nick Nurse's bench with the 76ers. It was very, like, he's doing so well that just makes that move even more, confusing to me. But you're absolutely right, like, this team is doing really well. I could see them making a deep playoff push. I felt like last year it was kinda sad not having Steph Curry be like a figure in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But I think that probably helped him being in the Olympics and that he at least had like a larger break.
Hmm.
But yeah, I feel like, these two teams, I hope they face off in the playoffs. It feels a little destined in a weird way, like the NBA script writers are gonna make it happen. Um, but yeah, I feel like they needed to move on from Klay, and that's part of the story that maybe wasn't told, was like, as much as it was obvious that Klay needed to move on, they also needed to move on. So it feels like an amicable breakup, but a breakup nonetheless.
Yeah. I think with the pieces that they've brought in, in terms of the whole maybe being greater than what Klay Thompson is now. You've got Buddy Hield in there, you've got Kyle Anderson in there, you've got DeAnthony Melton, and it's just like these pieces that can really fit in nicely. I don't know if I think having depth really, really matters in the regular season. And that's why I think, the Warriors have a bunch of guys that are playing,
Mhm.
20 minutes or more. And so they're able to go high intensity for these 48 minutes. I'm not sure it'll shake out the same way in the postseason, and that's why I feel like they still need like another star,
Mhm.
um, just to help Steph in that postseason setting. But I think for now they're in really good shape. And just to come back to Buddy Hield, I don't know if you saw Draymond Green's post game interview, um, where he was talking about Buddy Hield, and how he's had all these defensive criticisms. And he was explaining how Golden State as an organization, like they don't try to change who you are. They're just like, okay, this is what he is. How do we work with it? And
Right.
so in and they just noticed that, Buddy Hield just like chases the ball with no regard for what the defensive scheme is. And that's probably what frustrated Nick Nurse to no end.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
and
that makes
Draymond
sense.
Draymond and Steve Kerr and all of them were just like, okay, you want to chase the ball? You go chase the ball. This is how we'll play when you're on the court. And so I think they've kind of found a way
Hmm.
to let him play to his strengths on the defensive end and make him a better defender where he can be on the court. And all his hot shooting isn't canceled out by mistakes he's making on the defensive end.
Right. Notoriously not known for defense, the Golden State Warriors. But, I don't know if you saw, there was a clip going around with Draymond's podcast where he said that one of the reasons Steph Curry was so fired up is because Klay ghosted him. So apparently Steph was supposed to talk. He was going to do like some sort of a speech before the game or something like that. And he messaged Klay about it. And then Klay didn't respond. And then he was like, forget it. I'm not doing the speech. That's according to Draymond.
Whoa.
That's according to Draymond. So, there might maybe like, he said in the post game, Steph was asked about the speech, and he said he decided not to do it because it's not really about him, it's about the fans, and it's about, Klay's returning and the fans thanking him, and like, Klay knows what he's meant to us individually, and I didn't need to take that spotlight or that time, which is very good of him to say. And not wrong, right? Like it's not wrong or anything like
Yeah.
that, but The ghosting thing is interesting because I think Klay is notorious for being aloof, let's say. Like he probably has like 300 text messages on his phone like that he hasn't
Yeah.
responded to, and he has like all those little red dots with like how many notifications like on every app.
Yeah.
I
I
imagine
mean,
he's just that guy.
Klay was probably out on the boat and just didn't have reception. And Steph just saw the one tick and was like, "Oh my god, did he block me?"
Maybe, maybe he was probably
um,
high,
yeah.
you know.
So yeah, I'm sure they're fine. But maybe Klay was just trying to channel a bit of, he wanted to maybe be angry Klay for a night. And he was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna go into this zone where I'm not talking to anyone, and I'm gonna show up, and I'm gonna
I
do the
think
Steph
that's
shimmy when I hit
accurate.
a three.
Yeah. And then Steph was like, he knows better than that. Loved that. Okay, I think we can move on and talk about the rest of the NBA Cup. So I want to know, Vivek, like last week I was like, I don't care about this stupid cup. Like I was very like, I don't know. Like for me, I'm tuning into these games regardless. I think that Warriors game would have been, the same level of emotion and everything, regardless of whether it was part of the Emirates NBA Cup or not. But how do you feel about this? Do you feel like this tournament is successful so far? Do you get extra hyped up for these games? Where are you at with it?
I will say, based on last season, I did get more hyped up once it got to the knockout rounds.
Mm.
And I think one thing that took away from the atmosphere and feeling that was when the games moved to Vegas.
Right.
Because I thought, especially when Indiana was making their run and they're playing in front of their home crowd, like it felt like watching a playoff game. And you had the drama of them against the Bucks and just the way all of that went down. So I thought that was super fun. So I think there's got to be a way to just have that throughout the tournament right up until the final. Like scrap Vegas as a venue. And let's see like a home court advantage. I think that really like adds to it.
Yes, I agree. This is a great take. I agree because last year, I mean, I actually forgot about all this because too many things happen in a year now. But yeah, it lacked a certain level of energy because there was like no home court really, except like the Lakers always have fans that travel, and Vegas isn't far from LA, and so you could imagine there's a lot of Lakers fans there, so they had a bit of a crowd, but every other team it was just so meh. And yeah, I think it does need to be held in the respective cities. I agree. Like uh, I don't care about Vegas as much as probably like these players do,
Adam
or
Silver.
as much as Adam Silver does, or because they don't care about the Indiana Pacers,
Yeah.
right? Like they don't. But who
Hmm.
does? Indiana. And that would make for a better viewing experience. I agree. I don't know how much Adam Silver cares about the viewing experience.
Yeah.
Has he seen these courts? But anyway,
Yeah.
I like that. Let's get it out of Vegas, and let's whoever has like the best record or something like that, it should just be in their court. I agree. um Speaking of the courts, do you have any thoughts on this year's court? I mean, I saw the Philadelphia game. It was very blue. The Milwaukee game was blue, which I thought was an interesting choice because I don't associate them with blue.
Yeah.
Um, and then the Warriors court was very gray, um, which is more palatable to the eyes, but I also don't love the gray with the Warriors. Anyway, I don't know if you have thoughts on the courts or not.
Yeah. I mean, they've obviously tried to just make it very clear to a casual viewer that, if they happen to put on an NBA Cup game, all instantly you're like, wait, what's going on here? Something's different, right? You look at the
Yeah.
court and instantly you want to know what's happening.
I know that's the reaction they want, but the reaction they're probably getting is, "Whoa, what the hell is this?" You know what I mean? Like, what the heck did they do here? You know, that's probably the reaction they're actually getting. But anyway.
Yeah. And I don't know to what extent that is working. I do agree with you that, going with lighter colors for the court makes it much more easy to watch. I'm interested to see how this Raptors purple plays out on the eyes.
On the ice.
As much as as much as I love the purple jerseys, it's going to be interesting to see how the court looks as a whole. But yeah, I do think I do like that, you have something different for the NBA Cup. But yeah, maybe you can work towards just modifying the schemes a little bit and making it a bit more palatable. I heard someone say something interesting where when you watch it on your phone, it's like it feels different. And like obviously the NBA is recognizing that people are watching stuff on their phone a lot more now. And so, maybe it's not as, glaring when it's just on a tiny little screen like that as opposed to your TV. And so that's where we maybe are starting to age a little bit.
Oh, I had a whole moment in Shoppers Drug Mart the other day because I realized I liked the music. And then I was like, oh no, I like the grocery store music now. The grocery store music is my music now.
Was it Drake though?
No, it was like 90s. It was like 90s music.
I don't know if you remember Most Steph's little Dig It jersey.
Refresh my memory
about Drake's music being like grocery store.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was good. Inaccurate. No, it was like, it was just like random songs from the 90s. And I was like, they've got a good playlist going on. And then I was like, oh God, I'm that person now. And I bought a magazine. So it was like just brutal on my part. But anyway, I am getting old. The only time I've watched a game on my phone was I had to go somewhere, and it was during the WNBA playoffs. And I figured out a way to log into my league pass and watch the game while I was commuting. It's the only time I've done it. But I'm that person that would watch a game on my phone if I was trapped at a wedding and it was like the playoffs. But no one should be surprised by that.
So I watched Raptors Bucks Game 3 2019 at my friend's wedding reception. And I mean, I think every table had one phone out with the game on, because that was I believe my friend tried to get it played on the big screen, but now
that's a wedding. You can't have it on the big screen.
That was a big no-no.
Listen, if I get married in this lifetime, it's not going to happen during the playoffs. I will say that.
Exactly.
You do like this is a good reason to have a January wedding. But anyway, one thing I wanted to say about the courts. This is my idea for the courts. Okay, this is my idea.
Yes.
And I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about how the NBA finals have a way of feeling special without it being this very bright, weird colored court, right? Like it's got that finals cursive font, and it's like you have that there and it's the finals and it feels special, and it doesn't need to be like zhuzhed up in any other way. And I thought if the NBA Cup has that kind of stamp on it, it will feel special just with that. It doesn't need to be like blue and purple and green and whatever, right?
So do you think that NBA Cup trophy that we see in the middle would be enough?
Yeah, I like the key of the court being the cup.
Yeah.
I do like that. Like they could have that outline. And then I think you want a logo in addition to that. And why wouldn't the Emirates airline not want that? You know what I mean? Like I feel like if you do those things combined, or I don't know where you would place the logo, but it's either like diagonal either side of the court, or it's somewhere in the middle, maybe towards the top or something to that effect.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's all you need. And it will feel special. It doesn't need to be like wild colors. And then also because every court's a little different, I'm no branding marketing expert, but I feel just as a viewer that it hurts the branding because it's just confusing if you're a casual, I think.
Yeah. No, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think we got to send our ideas down to Adam Silver.
Adam, we're available. Our consulting rates are in Canadian dollars. Actually, no, we should make them in American dollars. The rate's really good right now. Adam, I take it back.
I was going to say we might need separate contracts.
Yeah, I'm clearly not a negotiator. All right. I want to do a fun exercise before we move on to Raptor stuff here. And, it is mid-November, but we don't have any other NBA goss right now that to me is deemed relevant. So I want to know, in these early stages, I mean, each week I've been doing like, is this team in panic mode kind of situation? I think the Denver Nuggets were, but they seem to be finding their stride as of late. The Bucks are a hot mess. There's different teams like that. I was disappointed with the way the New York Knicks started. But is there, we talked about the Warriors as well. Like, is there a team that you're looking at that you're like, they need to make a mid-season trade in order to make a real difference and put them over the edge?
I do think the Warriors need a trade. I do think they have a lot of depth for the regular season. And so they can have different guys contribute on different nights. And, as long as Steph is doing his thing and Draymond is doing his thing, they're going to win a bunch of regular season games. They won 46 games last year with Draymond missing like 25 of them, right? So you would think that they can be a 50-win team. It's just in the playoffs, if you're depending on Wiggins or Hield to be your second best scorer, I think that's where you might run into some issues. Or Kuminga, depending. So that's the I probably look at Kuminga as the piece where he's coming off the bench again, and there's probably some teams looking at Kuminga saying, hey, we saw the pop that he had last year. We'd be interested in that. Who's a team that can give the Warriors what they're looking for? That'll be interesting to see. And who knows, maybe things go so far south with Milwaukee.
Oh, yeah.
That, I mean, I don't think Giannis is the type of guy to demand a trade or request a trade. Because Milwaukee said that's the only way they'll trade him, which absolutely that should be the only way you'd be willing to trade him. But I think, Steph and Giannis would be an absolutely lethal combination to
watch. Yeah, there's no realistic world where that happens, but of course that would be,
the salaries just wouldn't work.
Yeah. And Adam Silver made sure of that. And we're available for consulting. Let us know. But I think Milwaukee's interesting because I feel like obviously they're not going to trade Giannis or Dame. I imagine they want to move on from Chris Middleton, but he's been injured too much that he seems untradeable. And then, Brooke Lopez is getting older, and I feel like, maybe they should have thrown, in hindsight, Chris Middleton in the whole Drew Holiday deal instead. Although I like Drew Holiday. He is a very good defender. Maybe a touch overrated, dare I say. I think, I don't know if people act like the Bucks would have won if Drew Holiday was still on their team last year. I don't think that's true. But obviously they lost a lot on the defensive end without him. Anyway, yeah, Milwaukee needs to make a move. I wonder if they're gonna fire Doc Rivers. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that's gonna happen like before the season ends or in the off season, but things don't seem to be working out with Doc. But it would be their third coach in 3 years if they do that.
With the way things are going, I would be surprised if Doc Rivers was the head coach come the trade deadline.
Yeah. Like, that might be more what they do instead of trading players, but like Gary Trent Jr. hasn't been doing well this year, and I think he's injured right now. But his numbers were really low. They really miss Chris Middleton. Like, yeah, like there's a lot of roster moves there that they can make, but I don't know if they're going to happen by the deadline. I am really interested in the Warriors because I think they are better than expected. And, there's a world where you're like, okay, we don't mess with this because we're better than expected. And then there's a world where you're like, well, just because we're better than expected doesn't mean we're going to win at all. And I think I've talked about this on this show before, but I remember their series against the Lakers where they lost in the second round. And Anthony Davis just destroyed this team. And I feel like when they're faced against a really good center, that's their weak spot. And, I remember they did beat the Nuggets, but the Nuggets, they didn't have Jamal Murray and stuff like that at the time. So I think they need to improve their center position. And I'm thinking, like, who would realistically consider this trade? Right? Because there's not a lot of good centers to go around. And I think this center is an okay center, but would be an upgrade. And that's Zubats on the Clippers. I think they could trade him for Kevon Looney. Trace Jackson Davis is young. He has potential, but he hasn't really been living up to that potential as of yet. I feel like it's one of those moves on the margins that could make a big difference for you. Like, I'm looking at his numbers right now. Against the Rockets, he had a really bad game. He only had he had 8 points and 6 rebounds. Frankly, more than what Trace Jackson Davis gets a game. But against the Thunder, he had 22 points and 14 rebounds. That might have been the game that Chet was out, but still, against the Raptors, he had 14 points, 12 rebounds. So he either gets a double-double or he gets close to a double-double each game. This would be huge for them, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that would be really interesting. I think it just depends on, which way the Clippers want to go. Are they just biding their time right now? Because they're playing pretty competitive basketball right now. Mm-hmm. And, shout out to Norman Powell, absolutely balling.
Yeah.
And so are they just biding their time to a point where Kawhi can actually play? Like Harden and Zubac in the pick and roll has been awesome. And then you've got Norman Powell doing his thing. So they're playing good basketball. So I think it just comes down to, are they getting a return that they feel is fair? And now at the same time, they're probably a team that looks at a Kuminga and says, oh, okay, what? Like, that's a young guy that comes in, brings in some athleticism that we need, plays a position of need. So maybe there's something there. I'll give you another name at center because the Warriors of late have been pretty good at these reclamation projects. You look at Buddy Hield, you look at Andrew Wiggins. And so the name I'll throw out there that they could maybe rejuvenate that's become a bit of a forgotten man, DeAndre Ayton. Who's just, kind of lost in the abyss in Portland. And they've got a whole bunch of centers. And, obviously,
right.
They've got, a young guy. They got a young guy like Donovan Clingan who they want to give minutes to. So I could see them potentially looking at DeAndre Ayton the way they've looked at Andrew Wiggins or, even Buddy Hield and saying, hey, maybe we're, the fixer-upper that he needs.
DeAndre Ayton for, and I don't have the trade machine up, for Trace Jackson Davis, and then you probably have to throw in a pick because I don't think the salaries would line up for like a future second round or something like that. That's a nice trade, I think, for both teams. Trace would get more of an opportunity in Portland. You know, DeAndre Ayton, like you said, they could revive that guy. And if you don't revive that guy, you're only losing like 4 points and 6 rebounds a game with Trace. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not like losing so much unless he like, you know, grows into like a future all-star or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a decent trade. Here's my Kuminga idea. How do we get Jimmy Butler on the Warriors? Right? That's where I think you throw in Kuminga, because Kuminga's valuable. You know, to me, he's like what Emmanuel Quickley was for the Knicks. You know, like that's why they were so upset when they lost Emmanuel Quickley, right? I think, you know, if Miami decides like that's it, we're done, then you start to throw in Kuminga. You'll need to add other players to that. But how would you feel about Jimmy Butler on the Warriors?
I would feel for Steph. Like, I think dealing with Draymond is already a lot. And now he's got to deal with Jimmy and Draymond.
He's like, the emotional labor is killing me. Yeah, I don't know if Jimmy Butler and Draymond would get along.
Yeah, I think that would be.
I didn't consider that.
Pretty intense. And you talk about going from, you know, you Splash Brother Klay to Jimmy.
Yeah, I don't know what their nickname would be.
That would be intense. Yeah, it's weird what's going on with Jimmy. I love Jimmy. I love his personality. But yeah, I feel like maybe the Pat Riley comments rubbed him the wrong way, and he's just kind of going through the motions a little bit. Or, you know, I mean, let's face it. At the end of the day, he's a guy who has generally worn out his welcome pretty much everywhere he's gone. This is the longest he's been somewhere. And so,
yeah, I don't remember how many years he had in Chicago.
Yeah. So I feel like it would be a risk. I think that would be the riskiest of the moves, but it might also have the highest reward, which is how things tend to be.
I wonder how Jimmy Butler would do on the Clippers. Now, who are they trading him for? They'd have to give up Norm. They'd have to give up at least.
I mean,
they'd have to give up too much. Oh yeah, they have 0 picks. Yeah, it's not going to happen. Yeah. But yeah, Miami's future I find very curious, and I imagine they will be in a rebuild mode in the near future. But that was fun. Okay, Warriors, get your.
So Jimmy Butler, 6 seasons in Chicago. But this is his 6th season with Miami.
Okay. So, yeah.
Kudos to you.
Kudos to me?
No, kudos to Jimmy.
Oh, to Jimmy. I was like, to me.
It was longer than I thought.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's time for a Raptors Homer moment here. So I said to you, so Charles Barkley on Inside the NBA, he doesn't want to say Gradey Dick. He doesn't want to say his name. I think as people who cover the Raptors, we've had to kind of get used to it. It has to start. Yep. But for Charles, he's not ready yet. But then I thought, how awesome is it that the Inside the NBA guys are talking about Gradey Dick? And that's because he is very much in the running for a Most Improved Player award this year. I mean, he had 30 points the other night. Is that right?
32
against the Bucks. I mean, okay. My question to you is, how big of a deal is it that Gradey Dick is this good right now? And should Matt Devlin start saying All-Star Gradey on the broadcast? At what point do we start saying Gradey Dick for NBA All-Star?
Yeah, you don't want him saying All-Star in the last name?
I think Gradey All-Star sounds better. He did say Freddie All-Star.
Yeah.
He did say Freddie All-Star. He didn't say Van Vliet All-Star. So
right.
We can thank Freddie for
yeah, Scotty All-Star. Is that what he was saying?
Yeah, I think he was saying Scotty All-Star.
Yeah, so Gradey All-Star.
Thank God.
Yeah, I mean Grady's not making an All-Star game. We can put that out there right now.
Stop. I want to start this. This is what I want my contribution to society to be. I want it to be Gradey Dick in the All-Star game. And then I want it to be me calling this the enjoy the process era of Raptors basketball.
I don't know if anyone has ever made an all-star team while playing for the team with the league worst record. Is the problem.
But the Eastern Conference is so bad. I mean, like, come on, who deserves to be an all-star more? Gradey Dick or Trae Young?
Trae Young. For sure. The man's averaging 20 and 10. And they're right around 500.
What's his average right now? I need to look up his stats right now. I'm going to make the case.
Trae Young is at 23.9 points per game and 11.5 assists a game and 4 rebounds a game.
So, okay, we're at 20 points and 2 assists a game, but 2 rebounds.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm going to make the case anyway.
MIP. MIP. We can just roll with that.
All right. You're not down for the I mean, obviously, like Scotty.
I'm here to be your voice of reason.
As if I need that. Obviously, like Scotty Barnes is an all-star, but he's injured, right? And he might be back, hopefully in December, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
yep.
It's like he's gonna lose some of that momentum from the outside the Raptors fan base votes. You know what I mean? So I feel like with Gradey Dick, we have an opportunity here to start campaigning a little early. You're really not buying this.
I mean, it's fun. It'll be a fun thing to do.
Uh-huh.
It's
it's like if he was like from a different country, like if he was from like somewhere in Europe, for example, then like the whole country would be like voting for him, and then we could have that to our advantage. But he's from Kansas, and I don't know if the people of Kansas care as much.
Yeah, you might have to lean into the jokes.
Okay, hold on. Lean into the jokes. All right.
No, I just like in terms of the campaign.
Okay, look, Paolo's injured. We don't know when he's going to be back. Right? So there's a spot. Nobody on the Pistons is going to make it. You think LaMelo on the Hornets is going to be there? Maybe. I don't know. Embiid's probably like, there's no way he can play in the All-Star game and then miss all these other games. That would be such a bad look.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he could realistically get away with that.
Mm-hmm.
Who on the Bulls is going to make it?
I mean, right now, Vucevic is playing pretty well.
Stop.
That's probably another center you can put in the mix in terms of a trade candidate.
For a trade candidate, sure. But an all-star?
I mean, right now, his numbers are amazing.
What are his numbers?
He's averaging 20.7 points, 10.2 rebounds, 3.2 assists. He's shooting 45% from 3, 59% from the field.
Listen, whose side are you on, Vivek?
I'm just saying, if you want to make a fun campaign out of it, I think that's how you get the votes.
Yeah.
Like,
All right. So the goal here is to not take it too seriously. Like who on the Nets
like,
is
who
going to
doesn't
be
want All-Star Dick?
who on the Nets is going to be
That's the campaign.
an
That's how you get
All-Star?
the votes.
All right. I bet more people know who Gradey Dick is than they know any player on the Brooklyn Nets.
Oh, no. Yeah, I don't think anyone from Brooklyn is making the All-Star game.
This is my point.
But
he's an Eastern Conference All-Star, which is different than being a Western Conference All-Star.
okay, let me put it to you this
If we
way.
were in the West, this wouldn't be a conversation.
So we got 12 spots for All-Star, right?
Yeah.
Cleveland's going to get 3 as it stands, as things stand right now.
3.
Yeah. Donovan Mitchell's going to be there for sure.
Yes.
Evan Mobley is going to be there.
Okay.
And then I figure that one of Darius Garland or Jared Allen will be there. If they keep, if they've got the best record in the East and they currently haven't lost a game yet, I think there's a good chance they get 3. Boston's got a good chance of getting 3 because they'll have Tatum and Brown. And then I think Derek White probably gets in there the way he's playing. Orlando is going to be interesting because of Banchero. I'll have to look at what Franz Wagner's stats are right now.
We shouldn't allow teams to have 3 All-Stars.
So, yeah, Franz Wagner, he's at 21.5 points, 5.2 rebounds, 4.7 assists. So he's probably getting in there in place of Banchero if he's not there, right? So even if you want to take away, one from Cleveland, right? Even if it's just Mitchell and Mobley that get in there. So that's 6 spots gone right there. New York is going to have Jalen Brunson in the game, right?
Of course, yeah.
The way Karl Anthony Towns is playing, he probably gets in there too. So now we're up to 8.
All right, dreams shattered. Well, now it's like, will Scotty even be there? Maybe we won't have an All-Star this year of any kind.
Don't think so. I don't think the team with the league's worst record is going to have an All-Star, unfortunately.
All right, but he could still get MIP. Interesting. All right, I hate it. It's fine. So, so I'm introducing a new segment here that will hopefully not last very long. But because we have so many injuries, the new segment is called Sideline Fits. Okay, this is separate from the Hottie Highlight. And we have to give a shout out to Caleb Luttrell on Twitter, who said I should talk about Bruce Brown's cowboy fits. And he has many. And we've talked a little bit about his outfits on the podcast before, but we've had a very exciting road trip here with a lot of his outfits. And same with Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes literally dressed up like Arthur at the Milwaukee Bucks game. And he's even commented on Twitter about it. I remember when I saw the outfit, I was like, why does he look like a cartoon? I was like, what cartoon character does he look like right now? I couldn't quite place it. And then I started to see all the Arthur memes and I was like, oh my God, of course. But Bruce Brown, his look in LA with the short sleeve, the cowboy hat, the short sleeve shirt, and it had a horse in the bottom corner. It's kind of got a nice square pattern to it. I love this shirt. It's like cowboy fit, but also feels very fashion that is now kind of combined. I like the breeziness and the effortlessness of it. That's my favorite so far. In Milwaukee, he had a baseball cap on and a plain shirt and jeans. And it looked like to me, he didn't pack enough clothes for the road trip and knows that he has too many eyes on him to wear the same thing twice. So he just ran to Target and bought a shirt and bought a hat. That's what I think happened in Milwaukee. It's really disappointing. And it's come on, Bruce Brown, you've set the bar so high now. Yeah. Right? But that was my favorite look of the season so far. I imagine too, as the year progresses, we might get some more like winter fits, or we'll see some summer fits like in the middle of winter as they're on the road again. So I'm excited, but that's my favorite so far.
My favorite would be the Denver game. The home game against Denver. I think he was ready for his former team. He had, the
With the
big belt
plaid?
buckle and the plaid and the
Yeah.
hat. And I think what really added to it was when, Aaron Gordon and Scotty had the little, tiff, and then
Mhm.
he's gone over to the referees, and then it just, it looks like Bruce Brown's like the sheriff.
Yeah,
That's
because he
like
was acting like a cowboy. He wasn't just dressed like one. Yeah, hopefully we get
And
more
it's
of
like,
that. And frankly, this has
yeah.
been the best part of him as a Raptor. Like, let's be real. This is the highlight of his career as a
Yeah.
Raptor, is him being a cowboy on the sidelines.
Yeah.
There is a look that I showed you, Vivek, and I'm hoping our team can get this on YouTube as well, so we can show it to our audience. He wore, when he was in Indiana, his brief stint in Indiana. I don't know if it's Carhartt, but it looks like Carhartt. Like overall shorts, like
Mm.
Carhartt overall shorts, and nothing else underneath it, and a cowboy hat. It's a very epic look, and it's like, it's weird because it's like the overall shorts are very like childlike, but then he's not wearing a shirt underneath, so you see all his muscles, and you're like, what is happening? But
There's a lot going
also,
on.
there's so little yet so much going on,
Yeah.
and it's like he's got to bring that energy here.
I don't know if you can bring that energy now in mid-November.
But he could do it with like a coat,
That's true.
like a
That
big
that
fur
would be
coat.
incredible. If he should just have the coat on during
Yeah.
the game, and then the second he's mad about a referee decision, just like rip off the coat and
Yeah,
be like,
like literally
we need to talk about this.
one of Gary Trent Sr.'s coats. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
One of those coats
Man.
on that outfit is what I want. Listen, I'm here. I can be your stylist. The combination
Can you be a fur cowboy? Is that ethical cowboying?
Sure. I mean,
Okay.
I'm sure they killed all the buffalo like 200 years ago. So, why not? Anyway, okay. I listen. The Scotty Barnes outfits, I really liked the Arthur look. I thought the Arthur look was really fun, and I'm all for it. And then the sweater had like these weird little details, like a extra long sleeve, but like a little cut to it and stuff like that, where it's like, oh, this is probably like a really high fashion, like expensive sweater. And then I love the glasses too. I love glasses. Obviously. But I don't like the motorcycle jacket. So there was a moment during the Laker game where, a photo was taken with Scotty, Bruce Brown, Garrett Temple, 3 very different outfits. People were memeing it like, these 3 have the same job and stuff like that. Garrett Temple suit, very nice, by the way.
Yeah.
Very nice suit. But I'm not a fan of the motorcycle jacket. It's not that it doesn't like suit him per se. I just find all motorcycle jackets just have this like stiffness to it that just like, I don't know, like everybody to me just looks slightly uncomfortable in a motorcycle jacket. Like I'm sure there are some people out there who wear it with ease, and I'm sure Scotty wore it with as much ease as possible, but it's just, I don't know, there's something a little stiff about it. And you're in LA, like, that's why I like the breeziness of Bruce Brown's outfit. So the motorcycle jacket, not my personal favorite. Feel free to disagree. It's all good. These are just outfits. Love the Arthur look. There's another one where he's wearing like a red sweater, and I was like, does he look like a cartoon here also? I couldn't place it. I'm all for Scotty Barnes. looking like various cartoon characters. This is what I want for my life.
Yeah, no, I think that would be hilarious. I thought he did a great job with the Arthur outfit. Just pulled it off incredibly well. What was he for Halloween again?
He was like a pirate.
Yeah, he was a pirate. But then the year before, he had the look with Gradey Dick, right?
I don't remember. Too much life has happened.
Gradey Dick was like Scooby-Doo.
Oh, possibly.
And anyway, this is bad podcasting.
That's okay. I want but if Scotty Barnes cosplays until he's back on the court, that would be just the most exciting thing.
Yeah.
In my little world. Okay.
What would be the next thing that you would want to see him in?
Oh.
If you said cartoon characters, so the next cartoon character.
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, something from The Simpsons could be really fun. Like, especially if he's gonna rock the glasses, he could do like a Millhouse look. I want to see Scotty Barnes' Millhouse.
That would be funny.
Yeah. There's a lot. Yeah. There's a lot though. He could even dive into the world of anime if he wants. Not a world I know as well, but you know, I'm down for it. You know, because maybe he is like a you know, a bit of a nerd like that. That would not surprise me.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't surprise me at all. I think Scotty could pull off like a Ninja Turtle look.
Oh yeah. That's a good one too. I agree.
Yeah.
But where is he placing the headband? Like he's not going to do it across the eyes. It's too Halloween. Like you mean like, because I still want him to make it fashion somehow. I don't want it to be like full costume, even though I did just say cosplay. So I realized I did that.
Yeah. I mean, I think, or maybe he could be Zorro. I could just see him coming out there.
Yeah, we don't. It doesn't have to all be cartoons.
That's where, you know.
It could be Zorro.
Zorro was a cartoon too.
Zorro. Okay. Was it? Oh, I just remember it as a live action. Anyway, I'm aging myself again. Zorro Barnes.
Yeah, there we go.
All right.
See him showing up. That could be fashion. You know, the mask on top. I could see him pulling off a stash too, a Zorro stash. It's Movember.
That's right. Yeah, well, we're midway.
Not too late. I don't think. I don't know what the rate of Scotty's, you know, facial hair growth is, but if it's anything like the growth of his basketball skills, he's got a good chance.
There you go. All right, that's absolutely ridiculous. But we'll revisit this new segment next week probably and see what other fits we see on the sidelines. Emmanuel quickly had an all denim outfit.
Oh, right. I do remember that.
Yeah, which I like. I mean he's rocking it. It's not, you know, I'm curious to see what other fashions Emmanuel quickly has in the next week.
Another Movember look could be Inspector Clouseau from Pink Panther.
Oh my gosh. Scott.
Yeah,
Vivek is here and his consulting rates are in USD. Yes. Okay.
Or British pound, whichever.
Or British pound. Just like the highest currency. Okay, let's move on to our Hottie Highlight of the week. And this involved two really awesome plays by Raptor players this week. We have R.J. Barrett noticing Jamie Lannister in the audience in LA, looking at him going Game of Thrones and it going completely viral. Really fun moment. And then we also have Bruno Fernando's massive dunk against Giannis, really just introducing himself to the entire world, with Scotty freaking out on the sidelines also. Yes. Both super, super fun Raptor moments this week, which is the Hottie Highlight.
Look, I am a big Game of Thrones fan.
Okay.
I would have absolutely reacted the same way if I saw Jamie Lannister, but Bruno's dunk
Is
on
yeah,
Giannis.
yeah.
The Raptors haven't had a dunk like that in a little while.
That's true.
And you didn't see it coming. And there's like the passion that Bruno Fernando brings whenever he's on the court. You know, we have criticisms of his game. He's a flawed player, but that dunk was insane. And it was kind of fitting too that Vince was, in the booth as it happened.
Yes, that's right. I mean, I really like Bruno Fernando. I'm really rooting for him to become, a staple in this league, let's say. And yeah, that dunk was just absolutely phenomenal. I mean, it's going to be on a highlight reel of top dunks of the year. And I feel like the way it was going around on NBA social medias, it was like most of these people didn't know who he was before. And then he made that dunk, and it's like now, not necessarily a household name, but an NBA fanatic name for sure. So congrats to Bruno. Just an awesome highlight. It's definitely going to be on like a countdown at the end of the year.
It's
For
also
sure.
low key a bit of a recovery because if you think about the last time the Raptors went viral for a game in LA, it was Darko's rant about Scotty. And now we have Bruno Fernando just.
Oh my God. And then he got Stephen A. Smith saying Scotty Barnes isn't one of the best players in the league. And like, it's so annoying. It's like, let his coach believe in him. Like, what how is this even a debate? It was so dumb.
Content. Gotta do it for the content.
That was a fun rant though. I really was like, yes, Darko, thank you. That might have been the Hottie highlight that week. If I remember.
Sure it was.
Yeah, if I remember correctly. I don't doubt it. But okay, I think we should wrap it up there. Vivek, thank you so much. Let us know what you're up to and where we can find you on the internets.
Yeah, so I've got the Raptors in 7 newsletter going strong. You can subscribe to it on Substack. You can find it on my Twitter page at Vivek M. Jacob. Besides that, I'm doing regular NBA stuff for Sportsnet. And yeah, you can find it all on Twitter. I'm also on Blue Sky now. So you can find me there as well.
I am too. You can find us on Blue Sky as well. And we have to follow each other after this recording.
Yes.
I haven't found you on Blue Sky yet. I think I've only found Katie.
I just joined yesterday, so don't.
Okay. I joined like a couple months ago, and then like literally no one was on it, and then now I feel like there's been a flurry of people joining. So I'm like, okay, great. I get to be more active on this app now. But yeah,
I mean, we'll see what happens. Like, I joined Threads initially, thinking, and now it's like I've had it uninstalled forever, and I don't use it at all.
Yeah, it was the same thing with Threads. I agree. But I like Blue Sky so far. We'll see what happens. But thank you everyone so much for listening, for tuning in. Please remember to like and subscribe and all that good stuff. I should say that at the top of the episode, but I was so excited about Vivek's cricket journey that I forgot. So if you could do that for us, we really, really appreciate it. Thank you again, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.